Bleach, The 1,000-Year Blood War, Episode 5 is out, and this week's episode takes the cake, and I feel like next week is probably going to be even better than this week's, especially with how this episode ends, because this is probably my favorite episode of this season so far, and we're not even at the halfway point yet. So, before we get into the video, as I'm probably going to end up gushing about it, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really does help, and it shows you guys enjoy the Bleach content on this channel. I want to keep going out with these videos until this first core ends and see how they do. I honestly want to keep covering Bleach because this is one of my favorite series of all time, and I'm really happy to get to experience this final arc for the first time with how great it looks. Yeah, let's just hit that intro and get right into the video. So this week, we start off directly from what happened last time, where Ichigo is trapped in that prison in the middle of their Garganta, and he's trying to break through it. We see the research and development team notifying everybody in the Serite that Ichigo is coming, and that he is going to sway the tide of the battle as his bankai can't be stolen. And we see more or less everyone that's important to Ichigo and a lot of the other captains reacting to all this. But then they realize that Ichigo's signal is gone, and the thing that honestly gets really dark in this episode to start it off is that while Ichigo is stuck in this thing, and when the researchers and development team get attacked by one of the gatekeepers who, based on how it looks, he was being controlled, he gets to hear all of their screams and cries for help as he's stuck in this place, which is honestly kind of dark and twisted. So yeah, that's kind of a dark twist right at the start, but I'm all here for it, as Ichigo is just desperately trying to break out. We then cut back over to Byakuya and Renji fighting Asnote, and I like that in this fight, Byakuya is trying to fight and leave Renji out of it so that he can use his bankai to end the fight if possible and to draw out all of Asnote's abilities, which is smart. But then Byakuya is feeling sluggish. He thinks that he might be poisoned, his body's going numb. But then Asnote reveals his powers. What happened with Byakuya is that he's feeling fear, something that he just tempered away and tucked away after a lot of hard-fought battles. And it's revealed that Asnote's ability, the needles that he creates, they inject fear into his opponents. So everything ends up becoming just fearful for Byakuya. And the imagery that is used to describe it is just incredibly disturbing and kind of scary. They did a great job making Asnote even more creepy and disturbing than he was last week, and pretty scary in all honesty. Byakuya then tries to swing his sword ferociously at Asnote, but then Asnote uses Byakuya's bankai against him and hits him away, and Renji begins to fight and try and take down Asnote. He even goes to try and use his bankai, but then he gets hit and thrown away by the masked Stern Ritter that was thrown away out of the battlefield through the ground right before he was about to use his bankai. So Renji, he lucked out a bit because his bankai didn't get stolen, because the masked guy didn't realize that Renji was capable of using a bankai. So if he waited, he would have stolen it, and Renji would have been in the same situation as Byakuya. And through this, we actually see how desperate the situation is, as Byakuya is being hit repeatedly by his own bankai to the point where he's put into the wall, he's all bloodied, his sword breaks, and all signs point to this being Byakuya dead, I think, or close to death in this instance, which is honestly something I did not expect, because Byakuya is one of the strongest characters in the series. So seeing him in this situation, it really is kind of scary. We then cut to Yhwach and one of his other Stern Ritters, the blonde one, as they are in the middle of the Serite, seeing all destruction. As then Kenpachi freaking Zaraki shows up with 3 dead Stern Ritters stacked up on his back and tosses them onto the ground. And I just like that even though I wish I could have seen all this fighting from Kenpachi, the fact that we got flashbacks to just how easily he managed to take down at least 2 of them fairly quickly was honestly nothing but amazing and kind of hilarious. He's like, this one guy tried to fight me by turning into a giant monkey, so I split him in 2. Fair enough, that makes sense. It's Kenpachi. Then the second guy, he starts talking about how he's and then he ends up questioning everything about Kenpachi, and he's like, it kind of got irritating, so I ripped out his throat. Which is honestly kind of funny, and Kenpachi does what Kenpachi does. And then the last one gave him a bit of a challenge, as he mimicked Kenpachi. He turned into Kenpachi, and so Kenpachi basically had to fight himself. But Kenpachi's reasoning to that and the solution was that I just had to become stronger than the version of myself that he became. Simple, effective. It's Kenpachi, and I love it. And it goes on to challenge the enemy leader, Yhwach, And I like this clash where Yhwach just blocks Kenpachi's sword with his arm, and then we just get this giant shockwave as we just cut to everywhere else. But now we cut over to Yamamoto. Well, basically, we cut over to Shuei fighting Stern Ritter O, who says that he is the overkill, and his ability is pretty scary. And the fact that every person he kills, he gets stronger for every kill. And he's killed 100 people, so he's a lot stronger now. He's basically disappointed with Shuei as a lieutenant. And he even drops the bombshell that the last time he was here, he killed a lieutenant and stole his bankai. So, we learn that he's the guy that killed Sasakibe, the lieutenant of the head captain, the lieutenant of Yamamoto, which is honestly a big bombshell to drop right now. He then goes over to try and kill Shuei in a similar manner with the quincy arrow through the chest, but then Yamamoto throws it away after jumping onto the battlefield. We then get Stern Ritter O's big monologue being like, "Oh, I'm here for you, head captain," and he then unleashes Sasakibe's bankai. We see Sasakibe's bankai, but through the overkill. He initiates it and then hits Yamamoto with the brunt of it, as we then get a flashback to Yamamoto's younger days, when he met Sasakibe, and their whole interactions. Being like, Sasakibe wanted to be the right-hand man of Yamamoto, but Yamamoto disagreed because he'd rather he be the student and then become his right-hand man, but Sasakibe just states, "If I became your student, I would just be mimicking you. I'd rather develop my own style and compensate for what you can't do." He then reveals that he came back to Yamamoto after being told to leave unless he became a student, saying that he achieved bankai. We then get to see Sasakibe use his bankai against Yamamoto, a younger version of Yamamoto, presumably in his prime. He uses it and then he leaves a permanent scar on Yamamoto. And that's the origin of how Yamamoto got the cross-shaped scar on his head. And his name, Genryusai, is literally just play on the nickname that was given, the scar on his head, and out of respect for Sasakibe. He added the name Genryusai to his full name, so it's a nice little backstory portion for Yamamoto to show how much he cares for Sasakibe and how much these two are like real great best friends. Even though it's not really stated, they are best friends, and Yamamoto respects and treasures the guy a lot as an equal and as a friend. And I got this from the funeral scene back in episode 2 and right here, right now in this flashback, which is honestly just really nice to see. We got to see more humanization and depth to Yamamoto because we didn't get to see too much of him in terms of aside from being the strongest captain. So this is something that's really nice to see. But then we cut back to the present while Yamamoto is being hit with the bankai, and he states how frustrated Sasakibe must be after spending all those years mastering his bankai. Yamamoto just explodes in anger, stating, "No way your bankai would be this weak," as he then uses a sword and slashes Stern Ritter O with his shikai, as we see Stern Ritter O just die instantly, get slowly and quickly burnt up and brought to ashes by that one swift slash from Yamamoto. And I just love Yamamoto's anger here. After killing O, we see this beautiful image of Yamamoto's shikai, his swords, flames just in the background, little flying firebirds in the background flying up. And Yamamoto just states to Shuei, "Don't worry, the rebel army, I'll deal with them myself. I'll eliminate them all." And then he jumps up into the air and starts flying towards a new location. And as he's doing this, every single member of the Gote 13, all of members of the 13 Core Guard Squad, notice the spiritual pressure of Yamamoto, and they all get revitalized. So it's just really nice seeing everybody here just getting really hyped up that Yamamoto, like us, they're hyped up and ready for a second wind for Yamamoto to show up on the battlefield to help them. And I'm glad. I can't wait to see Yamamoto fight, because apparently, I think the end of this episode I'll get to. But this episode is just really, really great. Before I get into the ending scene, which is there is a post-credit scene in this episode that sets up the next one, I just wanted to say how there was a scene in Hueco Mundo after Ichigo was stuck in the jail and the Garganta was sealed. We saw an image of Opie getting sliced and killed by somebody, but as he goes to try and finish off Urahara, Orihime, and Chad, but he gets killed instantly by someone else. And we cut to Urahara wondering who could have done this, as we then do a swift cut to a sword next to Urahara's face as he's like, "Damn it." And then we just cut back to everything else going on. This was earlier in the episode, but I just want to mention it here at the end because it was just a quick 1-2 minute scene. But I'm curious to see who showed up to kill Kyohei and who could it be that Urahara met just now. But lastly, the ending of the episode. basically comes to Yhwach holding an unconscious and bloodied, beaten up Kenpachi. He's like, special threat Kenpachi Zaraki. Is this all you got? I'm disappointed. So, like Ichigo, Kenpachi was considered a special threat, but Yhwach ended up beating Kenpachi fairly easily, and he was about to, like, kill Kenpachi, like, break his neck, which I wish we saw Kenpachi versus Yhwach in a full fight, but I kind of get why they want to end it off with this epic scene with Yamamoto landing right in front of Yhwach right before he kills Kenpachi, declaring that he's gonna finish him, setting up the matchup for these two titanic characters. We haven't seen Yhwach fight, but we just saw a glimpse of what Yamamoto can do, and I am excited for this. Next episode's gonna be epic as hell. The midway point of the first core is going to be Yamamoto versus Yhwach, and I cannot wait for this. This is going to be epic. I've been hearing that this fight is supposed to be really good, one of the best fights in Bleach, and I can't wait to see how the studio animates this, because just that single strike from Yamamoto and his anger charging towards and landing in front of Yhwach was just beautifully animated. So getting to see a full fight between these two powerful characters is something that I'm just really hyped for. But yeah, that was basically Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War episode 5. It was honestly really great, and I have no complaints over it. We really got the sense of terror and desperation from the Soul Reapers, as well as Ichigo's frustration over basically being stuck and unable to help his friends in a desperate situation, being one of the only people that can actually do something about it. We got to see a bit of Yamamoto backstory. Byakuya was defeated just quickly by his own bankai. You saw Sasakibe's bankai. Yamamoto got revenge for Sasakibe against the person that killed him. It's all just been awesome, and I just love that the brief few minutes with Kenpachi just being Kenpachi. I think overall this is a really great episode, and I just cannot wait to see more. But with all that said and done, what did you guys think of this episode of Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War? Leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section down below, and let me know your favorite moment from this episode and what is going to happen next. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really helps, and it shows you guys want me to keep doing Bleach on the channel. But with all that said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you all have an awesome day.
You think this is funny?
In a cosmic sort of way, yes.
Well, Mr. Funny Man, is this how you get your sick kicks?
What? It's just an ordinary crabby... Oh my goodness! Squidward!